Hey everyone, I'm David Caldes and welcome to our first ever episode of InterJovem. In this program, you're going to stick with me and find out about the culture and traditions from countries all over the world. If you're from Alagoas, Brazil, stay tuned to Francês FM 99.1 on Saturdays at 1 p.m. in order to listen to parts of our interview as well as really cool music from all over the world. If you want to listen to the full interview, just check our YouTube channel, InterJovem. That's InterJovem. All right, so now let's get to the fun part. We're here straight from Scottsdale, Arizona, with our first interviewee ever, an amazing girl from the country with beautiful tulips and windmills and cycling routes. Everyone, this is Nina.
Hey guys, I'm Nina. I'm from the Netherlands, like David said, and I'm so excited to be your first interviewee.
Awesome. So first things first, where are you from in the Netherlands? What region are you from? What city?
I'm from a small village called Olburger. It's in the gemeente, so in the county Bronkhorst, and that's close to a major city, Zutphen.
Oh.
And it's in the region Gelderland, on the easternmost part of the country. It's about half an hour away of the German border.
Oh, that's awesome.
Mm-hmm.
And tell me, what is one of your favorite things about your country?
Well, for one, the food. Dutch cheese is amazing. And the bread, oh my goodness, there is nothing like it. I just also love the people, how open-minded everyone is, and also the landscape. It's always green. There are cows and farms and also cities and museums everywhere. So whether you love farming or whether you're more of a city person, Holland can accommodate you.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
I know that Holland is a country that has a lot of culture and history and influences from different countries. So what is one thing in your region that is peculiar to that region, and in the rest of the country you can't really find it?
Well, my region is mostly farmland, which is actually pretty unique to the Netherlands because the Netherlands is a very small country, so there's limited space. So in the east, we have a lot of farmland and a lot of green, and there aren't really that many cities. If you go west, there's a lot of cities. So the only place where you can actually find peace and really, have the Dutch stereotypical like green farmlands is in the east, where I'm from.
Oh, that's awesome. There's like 12 states?
They're provinces.
Oh, provinces.
Yeah.
Okay. Awesome. So you were saying that the people were very progressive and equal. And I do know that Holland has a very big history of being very innovative and, as you said, progressive. So, just tell me more about that. What are some things that you consider that your country is progressive about, or things that are different from maybe the United States, or something that's just peculiar for the Netherlands at all?
Well, the Netherlands is considered the most progressive country in the world, and that's for a variety of reasons, including our laws, the way that people interact with each other, and also just new innovations that we make every year. Starting with laws, I think the big thing that everybody thinks about when they think about the Netherlands is prostitution. Oh my goodness, the red light district.
Yes.
So yeah, prostitution is legal in the Netherlands, but not for the reason that people think that it's legal. So the Dutch, we approach the topics, or just topics that have some controversy with a very open mindset. We think that it's going to happen anyway, so whether it's prohibited or not. So if we legalize it, then we have some power over it, and then some power over how it's going to happen, as opposed to it's going to happen in very unsafe conditions and just, yeah. So as with prostitution, prostitution happens everywhere. It happens in America, it happens in Brazil, it happens in Holland, it happens everywhere. So in Holland, we legalized it for a number of reasons. So to have access to the prostitutes so that we can test them, they have to do monthly drug tests and STD tests. And to ensure the health and welfare of the prostitutes, to promote condoms and hygiene, and to prevent the mistreatment of women forced to work as prostitutes. So statistics have actually shown that by legalizing it, the rates of sex slavery and childhood prostitution have greatly increased.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
So it's actually amazing.
Yeah, that's really interesting. And I also heard that it was the first country to legalize same-sex marriage.
Yes, that was a very big thing for a country to do. And I'm very proud about that.
That's very interesting.
And very soon other European countries followed, and then soon afterwards America.
Yes.
So.
And I know that you also have various regulations about marijuana. So tell me more about that.
Marijuana is legal in Holland. It's considered a soft drug. You can't really get addicted on it. So Holland decided to legalize it because people are going to smoke it anyways. So let's legalize it and be able to control it. So marijuana in controlled amounts is legal for recreational use. According to the 1992 policy, the possession of the maximum amount of like possession is 30 milligrams of cannabis for personal use. But the distribution of cannabis, so if you grow it in your backyard and you sell it, that is illegal because the government has to provide it. When you go to Amsterdam, you hear about coffee shops. Coffee shops, they're not really places where you can just go and get a cup of coffee. They're places where they sell marijuana.
Oh.
Yeah, so where they sell marijuana. And foreigners are like, ooh, Dutch coffee shops. Like, let's go to a coffee shop.
Yeah.
But coffee shops also have regulations, so they can only sell 5 milligrams per day to per customer, and they can have a maximum of 500 grams of cannabis in stock. To prove that legalizing drugs actually works, like the drug-related deaths per million inhabitants in the United States is 38. In the Netherlands, per million inhabitants is 2.
Oh, wow.
It's quite the difference, yeah.
Wow, from 38 to 2, that's
38
huge.
to 2, and it's just per millions. And like you hear in America, these overdoses happening so much, and it's just very sad. So I'm very proud that my country, that we don't have that happening as much.
Yes. And, well, 2001, I know, was a very big year for the Netherlands because, first off, you legalized the same-sex marriage, and you also made euthanasia legal.
Yeah.
That's a big topic.
Yeah. Euthanasia is perhaps one of the most controversial topics. But euthanasia is actually legal in Holland because people suffering from cancer or other diseases that are not going to get better, the Dutch mindset is just kind of why let these people suffer?
Let it for choice.
Yeah, it's free choice. That's the Dutch. We just believe in free choice for all. So we shouldn't restrict a person's free choice. So that's just a basic human right, in my opinion.
That's very interesting. And I also know that you have the lowest teenage pregnancy index, like rates in the entire world, because of, I know that it has a really big sex education, and there's a distribution of free birth control, right?
Yeah.
So, and also abortion is legal, right?
Yeah. So, but it's rarely used. So abortion is legal, but because of the free birth control, free condoms, and the special sex education, because they're all taught in school, and because birth control is very easily available, it's very rarely used. I think, well, the rates in the Netherlands of abortions performed every year are among the lowest in the world. So, yeah, children in school are taught about, like young children, like in first grade, they're taught about their bodies and what to do with them and how to treat, like care for them. And that's very unique to the Netherlands too, because in the Netherlands we're not ashamed about our bodies. We're just made like this. This is how we are. So let's educate about it too. Yeah.
How interesting.
Mm-hmm.
That's very progressive. A lot of countries, most of the countries, still deal with those kind of topics until today.
Yeah.
And there's still a lot of almost fight between people about it, about whether legalize abortion or not, or euthanasia is also still a big topic. Still, same-sex marriage is still a big topic. I do want to get back to education afterwards, but right now, so I know that Holland has a royal family living there as well. Is it how is that like? Is it like in England, or is it different? Is it kind of the same, a little bit more exaggerated than that? Maybe, I don't know. It
is completely different from England or from the stereotypical royal families. The Dutch royal family, they're just normal people. They just go to normal schools. They go to normal jobs. The kids, so the little princesses, they just bike to school. They attend normal public school.
Wow.
And paparazzi, there's not a lot of paparazzi in Holland, but there are only 2 days in the year that people are allowed to take pictures of the royal family. So, yeah, they're just very normal people. They don't live in big palaces or anything. They don't wear crowns. They don't wear special clothing.
Wow.
They're just very normal. Regular. You can just talk to them. Yeah.
That's really cool.
Yeah.
And so now let's talk about art. How is art valued in the Netherlands? Because I know that kids have to learn like 3 languages because of all like the way that the country is based on trade, international trade, which that is really, really interesting. But how is that like? I know that Van Gogh was born there. So how's that like?
Well, art is a very big part of our history and of our culture. As you mentioned, the Netherlands has always been a trade country. We've always been focused on importing and exporting and working with other countries. And so along with that, along with goods and services, you also have art that comes in the country. So very famous artists that we have are Van Gogh, so Van Gogh, like you mentioned, and then other artists as well. If you go to Amsterdam, a must visit is the Rijksmuseum, and that is where you can see all of the amazing artists and original pieces and sculptures and architecture. Dutch architecture is beautiful too. It's very modern. It's very sleek. It's very similar to the Scandinavian style. Yeah.
Amazing. And I know also that because the entire most of the country is below the sea level, you guys came up with the technology. How's that called? It's kind of a dam.
Yeah, it's like so Holland is below sea level. So when it floods, like everything is gone. So about 100 years ago, there was a giant flood which wipes out the entire country. In Holland, we finally said, okay, we're gonna build dams. And we're going to build them high enough that if another flood comes, it's not going to destroy everything. And then about every 10 years, we add on to that dam. So we add extra ground just to prevent water from coming in. So what it is, it's these dams, they surround cities, they surround villages, they're next to rivers, and they're very high. And then you just have normal walkways, normal bike paths on it, but every 10 years we have to add on to it just to prevent the sea from going over and rivers from going over.
Wow.
And so it's very innovative. And actually in Louisiana, after Hurricane Katrina, we went over there, so the Netherlands went over there to help them develop a similar system, that if another hurricane comes or just another flood comes, they won't have the same devastating effects.
Prevent it.
Yeah.
How interesting. And so I know that the Netherlands is really, really famous for cycling routes.
Yes.
So how is transportation there? Because we like this stereotypical mindset. Well, it's just bikes everywhere.
Just bikes.
Is it like that? Do you see a lot of cars, or do you actually see more bikes? How does that work?
Well, there are actually more bikes than cars in the Netherlands.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, they did a study, and that's
Wow.
pretty funny. But it's also very nice because it's eco-friendly. You don't have all that pollution that cars give off. And it's also healthy because if you bike, I mean, you lose calories, and it's just good for you. It's healthy. It's good for your mental and physical health. And it's just very accessible because you can go anywhere without having to rely on a driver's permit or, yeah. So there are a lot of cars, and Dutch traffic is horrible, which is also why many people choose to bike.
Oh.
But you also have trains that lead to every city, every town, which is really nice because here in America, I think you can relate. You can't bike anywhere. You can't take the train anywhere. You can only drive. So that's one thing that I also like about the Netherlands, that everything is so accessible.
And I saw, okay, so the Netherlands has 17.08 million people and 18 million bikes. I mean, that there's more bikes than people.
Yeah.
That is really,
exactly.
That's really something. So, and also I saw on the newspapers, I don't know if you saw that, but that the Dutch government is planning on banning all the sales of like petrol and like diesel powered cars by, I think it was 2025.
Yeah.
That's a big move.
It's amazing.
Yeah.
Yeah. Even now there are a lot of electric cars. So, and just a lot of people are just abandoning cars altogether.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's true. So you're talking about food at the beginning.
Food.
How is food like in the Netherlands? I know that I saw that Netherlands is the healthiest country in diet in the world, and it beats France and Switzerland, which is very impressive because they're famous for having healthy eating habits.
Yeah.
And the Netherlands beat them.
Well, the Netherlands, so we're also the tallest people in the world.
Yes.
And there's a reason for that, nutrition.
Huh.
So we've always had good nutrition because we had fertile soil, we were close to the sea, close to major rivers, and also trade. So the stereotypical Dutch diet is just so stamppel, which is what you eat, what many people eat for dinner. It's just kind of mashed potatoes, and then some meat on the side, and then it can also be mashed cauliflower, with meatballs. It's very healthy. And then people drink a lot of milk and coffee. Oh, you wake up, drink coffee, then and you go to bed with a cup of coffee.
Wow.
It's crazy.
Yeah, that's interesting.
But,
and, I'm Brazilian. Brazilians make good coffee, so that's a good match.
Yeah,
you know?
coffee.
Yeah.
Yeah. But that's the reason why Dutch people are always hyped up. Let's do this. Coffee.
Yes.
Coffee time.
Yeah.
Koffietijd. Yeah.
So now I want to talk about the big one, education.
Yeah.
So I know that the Netherlands has a few different types of school. It has I have like a little cheating chart over here. It has the public schools, openbare. I don't know how to say that.
Openbare.
Oh, openbare. That they're state-run schools, and they have Dutch education. And then there's their private special schools, and I'm not even gonna try to say that name. I'm not gonna take this too hard.
Privéscholen.
Oh yeah, I have no clue. It's like that was like.
Bijzondere.
Oh, bijzondere. Okay. So it's it says that about 2/3 of kids in Netherlands go to that kind of school. It's practically a public, the same way that public schools work, but they're like owned by parents or like a more selected dean of education. That's very interesting. And then there's also the international schools, which provide education for global students, and the private international, which is slightly different, but it has the it provides international curriculum as well, which is very interesting. And I also saw something really, really interesting, that you have special needs schools. And there's two kinds. There's like the normal special needs is for kids that have slight special needs, and it's kind of boosting up and encouragement to go to, correct me if I'm wrong, please, but to go to a regular high school. And then there's another type of school for people who actually have severe learning disabilities. And something that really caught my attention were the called Steve Jobs schools, that like the iPad schools that I think there's like more than 20 or something like that, and it's how they the kids receive iPads instead of books, or instead of having to use a blackboard, and the teachers are there only to coach the students to lead their own learning. Yeah, that is mind-blowing. Like, that's so interesting.
Yeah, there are a lot of different types of schools. So the private special needs schools, they're actually the same as the bijzondere schools. Okay. But as you said, there are different types of like special needs schools. So for kids who just have a slight disability, they'll go to that school, but then with the goal of bringing them back to a normal, regular public school. And a public school is very good education. Compared to America, so the Dutch public high school is American university level, so undergrad level. Oh, wow. Yeah. So there are also 3 types of public schools that students can choose to go to when they turn 12 and graduate from elementary school. You have the MAVO, the HAVO, and the VWO. Oh. So the MAVO is the curriculum isn't as challenging. It's for kids who may or may not want to go to college later. The HAVO is higher than the MAVO, and it is pretty challenging curriculum, and it is for kids who want to go to like a higher learning university or something like that, or just school after they graduate. And then you have the VWO, which is really for kids who want to go to the university later on, and they learn Latin and Greek and French and Italian and English and all these languages. So it's really unique that you have these 3 different types of schools, because in America you only have one high school. And that is why when you go to college in America, it takes about 3 years for everybody to catch up and to really learn what you want to learn. Yes. And like you mentioned with the private schools, that's also very unique. And I had no idea about the Steve Jobs school. Yeah. That's really cool. Yeah, I did some research. Yeah. Good job. Yeah. Good job.
So I also saw you mentioned these 3 kind of like tiers of high school. Yeah. I know that they allow people, it's a very, very interesting thing, because they allow people to focus exactly on what their skills are. Yeah. Because one of them is it's like basic knowledge with practical knowledge, and then one of them is technical knowledge, and the other one is technical logic with practice, and they lead to different types of universities kind of in different curriculums, and that is very, very interesting.
It just depends on what package you choose when you go to school, because when you turn 12, you just choose the package or the things that you like, and then you start learning those things. Of course, some courses are still required, like math and English and reading and writing, but other than that, it's really what do you like and what do you see yourself doing in the future, and not just being brain dead sitting in classes all day.
How interesting is that? It's very unique. It really is.
And another fun fact that I'd like to add in: Dutch teenagers are actually the happiest in the world. Oh. Yeah. So that's also pretty unique, and Dutch children are the happiest in the world. Some people may say that Dutch parents are one of the strictest in the world, but they're strict, but they do allow freedom. So it's like, strict and freedom. Huh. And we also allow kids to be kids a little longer. So in America, they immediately start learning when they're 6. In Holland, you go to start school when you're 4. However, it's learning how to interact with other kids and playing outside and like things like that. And Dutch teenagers are also much more mature and self-assured and confident as compared to other countries in the world, because we know ourselves, we know our bodies, and we know what we like. So I think that's pretty cool.
That's very interesting, because here in the United States, we can choose what type of school we're attending, as in public, charter, or private.
Yeah.
But we can choose the type of method that is going to be used. We can choose our curriculum, kind of.
Yeah.
But and the extracurriculars and all that. But this technical knowledge versus basic knowledge and practical knowledge and theoretical, it's very unique. It's very interesting.
Yeah.
And as you said, very progressive. And so, as I said, I did a lot of research.
Yes.
So I separated a few really, really fun facts.
Okay.
That at least I found fun. Okay, so I want you to, add in if you know anything about it, or tell me if you never heard about that and you didn't know, because I would love to be finding out stuff that even you didn't know about. So.
Bring it on.
First of all, it's one that we kind of talked about, which is more than a quarter of the Netherlands is below sea level.
Yeah.
So it's very, very flat country. I think like the highest latitude is like 300, not even 400 meters high, which is nothing. It's very
crazy.
It's very flat.
And it always rains. Rain.
Oh.
Yeah. We only have a limited amount of sunshine each year. So Dutch people are always depressed. No, that's not true. We're always happy. But we are prone to being vitamin D deficient. So we do have to take extra vitamin D supplements. Yeah, that's just genetic.
Pros and cons to everything.
Exactly.
So I also know that we talked that the Dutch people are the tallest in the world. The average male height is 184 centimeters, and for females is 170. And compared to Brazilians, that is tall.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's very tall.
Yeah, I'm 186 centimeters.
Wow. So you're above the middle average.
Yeah, I'm very above. Yeah.
It's good for dressage, though.
Yeah, that's true. For those who don't know, dressage is horseback riding.
Yes, horseback riding. It's a really cool sport.
On that note, the Dutch are also the first in the world for dressage and horseback riding. So we're also innovators in that.
Wow.
With breeding the best horses, KWPN, Royal Dutch Horses, so Dutch warmbloods. So look that up.
Huh.
Yeah.
That's awesome. And it's all related because right over here we have a dressage champion sitting with us, if I may say.
Yeah.
So, and I also saw that the Netherlands is the most densely populated country in Europe. And that's really interesting because it's not.
It's a small country, but a lot of people want to live there, so to accommodate everyone.
I definitely see the appeal. Yeah.
Yeah.
Also, it's something that I found very, very interesting is that Amsterdam is built entirely on poles, like wooden poles. It's like built on no less than 13,659 wooden poles that are 11 meters deep on average.
Yeah.
How interesting is that? Because it's basically thick fen and clay underneath the city. Yeah. That's amazing. That's really, really interesting.
It is.
Also, the tulips. Netherlands is very famous for the beautiful tulip fields and for the tulip exportation. It's like if you get a delivery for a tulip, there are very slight chances that these are not from the Netherlands, as you know. So I know that, but the tulips are not actually from the Netherlands. Did you know that?
Yeah, I know that.
They're from Turkey.
Really? I didn't know that they were from Turkey, but I did know that they weren't native to the Netherlands.
Yes, so this information I got from AmazingAmsterdam.com, which is a government website, which is a really good source. And they said that the tulips are from Turkey, but in the Netherlands they grow extremely, extremely well.
Which is because it rains so much and the soil is so fertile. Yeah, basically, a lot can grow in the Netherlands, but corn doesn't grow in the Netherlands.
Oh, how interesting.
Which is really interesting, yeah.
Huh. In the United States, there's
there's so many cornfields.
Yeah, in Brazil we also have a really rich soil, and we get many, many different kinds of vegetation because we have our country is so big. Yeah. There's the room for many vegetations to grow. So
it's beautiful.
Also, we kind of talked about that Dutches love their coffee.
Yes.
But I saw that in average, they drink 140 liters of coffee per year.
Yeah.
That's like almost 4 cups a day.
Yeah.
That's
well,
a lot.
4 cups seems a little, to
Really?
be honest. Yeah.
Wow.
Well, so so we have koffietijd, so which is basically at around 10 a.m. So 10 in the morning, everybody sits down and drinks a cup of coffee and has a cookie or something, and then you have that in the afternoon too. But when you wake up, you drink coffee. It's just entire day you drink coffee, coffee, coffee. Then before bed, you drink a cup of coffee. Way for sleeping, yeah.
Right?
But almost immune now.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah.
Like, as a Brazilian, I don't even drink coffee a lot, but people do drink coffee
Yeah.
a lot. Like in the side of every like water fountain, there's a little coffee
yeah.
thermal. It's like a lot of coffee, and it's almost like I'm almost immune to caffeine. I can chug like a teacup of coffee and I'll feel nothing at all.
No.
It's even bad because
It's the
sometimes
same.
I just want to stay up at night and like can't use coffee as an energizer.
It's amazing how similar Brazil and the Netherlands are. Yeah.
Yeah,
Coffee.
in some aspects.
Yeah, in some aspects. Coffee being one.
So, also, I saw that 86% of Dutch people speak English as a second language, making Netherlands the highest English proficiency country in the entire world. That's amazing.
Yeah.
You yourself have amazing English.
Thank you.
You've been living here for a while, but you do have a really good English. So how interesting is that?
I would argue that it's even higher.
Huh.
Yeah, I would say that about 95% of the people can at least have a conversation with you in English. So I don't know how these statistics were done, but if you go to the Netherlands and ask somebody a simple English question, you can bet that they're gonna return.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
But is that related to any kind of similarity between English and Dutch?
No, there are no similarities at all. English, it's such a weird language, and Dutch, it's not the same at all. The Dutch, we had a big influence in colonizing New York, so we actually began New York City. It was called New Amsterdam before it was New York.
Yes. I said about that.
But just that was kind of the only part in America that we colonized. But
we did colonize a part of Brazil for some time, which is interesting.
Yeah.
Took our gold away.
Yeah. I want to visit Brazil one time. Yeah.
Yeah, you definitely should.
Yeah.
And I definitely want to visit.
Have to be my tour guide. Yeah.
So, and also the Netherlands is the largest beer exporter in the world.
Really?
Did you know that?
No.
I thought that it would be something...
Germany.
Exactly.
Yeah.
I thought it would be Germany, but apparently not.
Oh, interesting.
That's interesting. It says that it also, like, attached to alcohol, it says that the Dutch people are the people who invented gin. Gin, I think.
Gin? Yeah, gin.
And which is something famous for British people, but apparently the Dutch created it, and then they introduced it to the British.
Interesting.
Which is very, I did not expect that
I didn't
at all.
know that either. Wow.
And also, Netherlands has the oldest national anthem in the entire world.
Yeah.
That is so interesting, and it's very interesting because in the anthem, it kind of has the king talking about his German blood and his royalty to the Spanish crown in the anthem, which is really, really interesting.
Well, our history is just beautiful. The country is over 1,000 years old, and before that, people were already living there before it was officially like a country, you know? So all the things that you can see in the Netherlands are just beautiful. The town where I'm from was actually colonized in 907. So, in the year 907 by Germanic Knights.
That's
long so the church that they built, you can still see over there.
Wow.
Yeah.
Is it maintained, or is it just like a very strong structure?
It's maintained, yeah. And then the farmhouse, so the house that I was born in and where I grew up has been in my family since the 14th century. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Huh.
So in America, when they say, "Oh, things 1850, that's old," we're like, "No, that's not old at all.
Yeah.
That's modern."
14th century homes. Yeah.
Yeah.
So would you say that having those 14, structures and families that go from like directly from a really, go really far behind our time now, would you say that people have a better idea of their relatives and like their family tree? Like, you know what I mean? Like, do they have a lot of documentation on who their their family was?
I think so. Because I know my great-grandparents, who they were, my great-great-grandparents. Like, my great-grandmother, she was related to the German royal family and had to escape from Germany in the First World War. And then she came to Holland as a young 13-year-old, and then she had to find work. So I know that some of my heritage also goes back to Germany, because the Netherlands and Germany, they're so close. But then my heritage also goes back to France, and we think Italy. And because of all the documentation that was kept, and because our families are also so close, the Dutch really value family. You never really have to guess, oh, where are we from? Or, oh, who are we, Because I think that's a really big problem in America, and in Brazil, I think so too, because they're both colonized pretty later on, is that people don't really know where their family is from. They take DNA tests, but they still don't know. I think it's very interesting that we actually know who our ancestors were, and we can relate personality types, and
That's very interesting. Something that as a Brazilian living in the United States for about 2 years now, I noticed that in Brazil we don't actually have a lot of that even curiosity to know what our values are, because for like in the Brazilian mindset, your values are the society that made you, and like the people who created that kind of mindset that you have right now, and who gave you your traditions and all that kind of stuff. So you'll never see someone going like in here, people go, oh yeah, I'm African American, or I'm Italian American, or something like that, in those ends. In Brazil, it's hard for you to see someone that is not just going to say, I'm Brazilian. That's it. Their their grandparents could have been Italian or anything. We were colonized with many, many different countries. We have German influences and, Dutch influence and Portuguese and Spanish, and it's a lot. But we really don't pay a lot of mind to that. I think that's something very interesting.
That's interesting. But I think it's also good, because I think what I see in America is that a lot of people are like, who am I? Like, why am I here? Like, who are my ancestors? Like, because of, certain things that I do, like, are they because of my ancestors did them? And that kind of, it doesn't leave any room for self-growth and self-discovery, So I think that's pretty cool. I think it's cool comparing countries.
I feel like having that kind of sense of, I'm Brazilian, that's it. It gives a sense of identity, a really big sense of identity. And it's better for unifying people. That's
I totally agree.
Also, moving on, I went a little bit off topic, but so I also saw that the Netherlands is where they invented CDs and DVDs and Blu-rays. Do you know that?
I didn't know that.
That is,
wow.
I also I had no clue, but Philips, the company is
Philips. It's based in Holland. Yeah.
Exactly, and that's they developed it in the 1970 something, and it's very interesting. I had no clue that CDs came from Holland, and that was a big part of the entire world in the music industry, so thank you for that. And also Holland was really, really big on the discovery of microbiology and virology as well. You guys created the first compound microscope, which is very, very interesting. And there were Dutch scientists that started studying microbiology, and discovered viruses.
Yeah.
So that's something very, very interesting. And it's
Well, the Dutch have
very
always
impactful.
been innovators on every level, like science, art, literature, trade, everything. So it's like Dutch people kind of have jitters in their feet because if they aren't like finding new things and exploring new things, they get bored.
Always.
And when Dutch people get bored, it's not good. They always have to find new things. Just part of the reason that we moved to America. Parents were just like, okay, we have to explore. Yeah. So, yeah, I think that we're very unique in that way, is that we never think that, oh, one thing is good, so let's not progress on, so let's not continue developing it. We're always like, okay, let's continue, let's go. So, yeah.
That's a really good mindset of, always trying to move forward and be progressive.
Yeah.
And try to always get better and better and better at every area possible. That is really, really interesting. And also I had a question. So I know that there are some similarities between Dutch and German, the language. So is that really, because I know that I thought that Dutch was kind of a little bit similar to English, because I know that German has some similarities with English. So does it have anything that could relate to English or something like that?
Well, Dutch and German, they're both Germanic languages, is what it's called. I think, I'm not sure, but I think Danish is too, and then Swiss is too. So I can read German and kind of make out what it is, because there are similar words, similar sayings and phrases. And if somebody, like a German, is talking slowly to me, I can understand it. But it is not the same language. Like, you have the similar foundation, like similar words, but it's not the same. Yeah, I think German, yeah. Well, I don't really know. English, it's such a different language from any other language that English, they also adopt new words. And new sayings from other languages. So it may very well be that they adopted new words and new phrases and sayings from German and Dutch, and yeah.
Because I know that, for example, Danish people and people from Switzerland, if they talk in their own languages, even if they talk slowly or something, at some point they're going to be able to figure out what each other is saying. Is that does that repeat itself with Dutch and German?
Yeah. I can understand for the most part.
Okay.
Yeah. It's also because in my province, our dialect is very similar to German because we're so close to Germany. So yeah, our dialect, since it's so close.
Yes. And I remember that we were talking another day, and I said ich bin hungrig.
Ik heb honger.
Ik heb hunger. So it's kind of the same. You can kind of see the similarity. German is ich bin hungrig, and Dutch is ik
so
ben.
In German, like I am is ich ben. And in Dutch it's ik ben. So it's kind of similar.
Yeah.
But that's also something funny. It's not ik ben honger, because then you say I am hunger.
Oh, so you have to.
So it's I have hunger.
Oh.
So yeah. Ik heb honger.
Ik heb hunger. That's interesting. So, all right. I think. Is there anything else you'd like to add? Anything interesting you would like to let us know? Any curiosity? Any perks of the Netherlands?
Well, I think going back to the royal family, it's very unique that we have a royal family because so many countries don't have it anymore. The 28th of April is actually King's Day, and that's the king's birthday. And we have big parades and flower festivals, but with every new king or queen, their King's Day or Queen's Day changes. So our previous queen, Wilhelmina, I don't remember exactly what day her birthday was, but then it would be Queen's Day. And before our current king, Willem-Alexander, we had 3 queens. So if you look at history from other countries and the royal families, a lot of countries didn't allow women to be queens.
Yes.
In the Netherlands, like there have been so many queens and so many. Yeah.
Wow.
It's very,
That's very interesting.
Yeah.
And
Men and women have always been equal in Holland. Yeah.
that's really interesting. And I know that it's a really big holiday. Like it's a big celebration when the king's or queen's birthday, right?
Yeah.
That's
very
really cool.
big. And one thing that foreigners might think is a little weird is that Dutch people on celebrations of every soccer match, because soccer is very big in Holland and in Brazil too, I think.
Yes.
So with every celebration, with everything that can be celebrated, we wear orange because orange is the Dutch color. So I should actually be wearing orange right now.
Yeah, your mic is orange.
Oh yeah, my mic is orange.
Yeah.
But orange, orange, orange. So people are like, why are you always wearing orange? Well, it's the Dutch color.
Huh, that's cool. Yeah, because in Brazil, whenever we're doing anything, that's actually a similarity because we always use like green or yellow when we're doing something that like, I don't know, you can see a lot of people that go for like an international concert and they'll wear like either go with a flag or like with green and yellow shirt or something like that. So that's kind of similar. That's very interesting. That
our first king was actually Willem van Oranje. So Willem from Orange.
Oh,
which is very interesting. Yeah.
Huh.
So orange has been way back. Yeah.
Wow. That's
the orange influence. Yeah.
Yeah, that's awesome. So Nina, I want to thank you so much for being here and for talking about all that and teaching us a lot about the Netherlands. Really remarkable country. I really love learning about it. It's very, very interesting. So thank you for being our first interviewee. We have a long journey on.
Yeah. Well, no problem. Thank you for having me. It was a lot of fun.
Thank you so much. How do you say goodbye in Dutch?
Tot ziens.
Tot ziens.
Tot ziens.
Tot ziens. Is that right?
Tot ziens.
Tot ziens.
Tot ziens.
Tot ziens. Tot ziens.
Tot ziens.
Tot ziens. Tot ziens. Okay, so all right, that's a wrap, everyone. So thank you so much for being with us and learning all that. If you remember to stay tuned to Francês FM 99.1 Saturdays at 1 p.m. and always check our YouTube channel. Also on Saturdays, we're going to upload the full interview. So, tot ziens.
Tot ziens.
All right. That's
all right. Thank you.
Oh, I deleted all of it.
Oh, yeah. I would literally quit school.